Thank you so much for joining us for a really informative and exciting new partnership between us and the New Mexico Connected Communities Collaborative. So just to give you a little bit of background about myself and our work, my name is Abir Algawi. I'm the Assistant Director with Engage New Mexico. And Engage New Mexico is part of the backbone or the support team for this prenatal to career education initiative in Doña County called the Success Partnership. And the Success Partnership began with the Doña County Early Childhood Coalition, of which today's webinar is the fruit of that labor. And we have within it 3 action networks. The action networks are Children Are Born into Healthy Homes, Children Are Ready for School, and ECE Workforce is Supported. I am the backbone liaison or the backbone support for ECE Workforce is Supported. And we have lead ambassadors who help guide the work and inform our movement, and they are Dr. Betsy Cahill and Dr. Rihanna Thomas. Again, thank you all so much for joining us.
I'm Betsy Cahill, and I am a co-ambassador of the Workforce Committee with Rihanna Thomas. And with our committee members, we thank you for attending this webinar supported by this collaboration with New Mexico State University's Connected Communities and with Engage's Doña Ana Early Childhood Coalition. Our presenters today are Claudia Trujillo. She's a member of our Workforce Committee and a lead mentor with Thriving Kids through the Community Action Agency of Southern New Mexico. And then our other collaborator and presenter today is Jeannie Brown. Jeannie Brown is an educator with the School for Young Children, and she's also an adjunct faculty member at New Mexico State University. So I'm going to pass it on to them.
Thanks for being here. We're going to start with a song. So this song was written and popularized by Ella Jenkins, who's a classic multicultural children's songwriter and storyteller. And the name of this song is "The World is Big," and it's one of the many songs we use to open our day at Roadrunner Pre-K, where I am one of the teachers. Oh, the world is big and the world is small, but there's lots of room for the short and the tall. Oh, the world is far and the world is wide, but there's many different ways to see the other side. You can travel on a boat, you can travel on a plane, you can travel in a dance, you can travel in a game, you can travel in a car, you can travel on a train, you can travel in a song, you can travel in a name. Oh, the world is big and the world is small, but there's lots of room for the short and the tall. Oh, the world is far and the world is wide, but there's many different ways to see the other side. We're so happy you're here. I'm hoping you can help my friends with a dilemma.
Hi everyone. Hi there. My name is Penny the Penguin, and I only like cold weather. My name is Manny the Monkey, and I only like hot weather. Oh, but we like to play with each other, and we don't know what to do.
This is how I started my meeting 2 days ago with my kids, and guess what they decided that Penny and Manny should do? They decided that Penny should throw snowballs and Manny should throw warm balls at each other, and they should have a snowball warm ball fight, which I thought was a great solution. So today we're going to be talking about lively connections with children and families for early childhood educators and home visitors. I'll just tell you a little bit about how we got to this place. So I've been teaching at the pre-K at New Mexico State University called Roadrunner Pre-K. Now this is my 14th year, and in the spring, of course, we went virtual, and it was hard, but it was okay because we'd had 8 months to build relationships with these children and families, and we just kind of continued what we'd already been doing. But as we were anticipating starting a new year in a virtual world, we were really asking each other, how are we going to do these? These kids don't know each other. They don't know us. The families don't know each other. How are we going to create the relationships that will drive children's interest in coming to school? So we sought out a trainer. And so we went with Melanie Snell, who works at Rye Institute, which is founded by Magda Gerber, the Resources for Infant Educators. And one of the things that I should tell you right away is that their entire focus is socio-emotional. We weren't worried about providing educational content. We knew how to do that. What we didn't know is how can we create out of nothing relationships and friendships between children and families that don't know each other in a virtual world. So she asked us, so she came in to train us, and she asked us, she said, what do you think you're doing? In other words, what is the purpose? Why are you doing virtual education? And so if you wouldn't mind, before we go to the next slide, if I could just ask everybody to just put in the chat, what do you think what is the purpose? Why are you doing virtual education? Involve family members in the child's education. Families are afraid to bring their children at this time, to help families safely, to have continued growth. These are all great answers. Thank you, everyone. Keep supporting families, connect and provide support to families, keep supporting children and families. What Melanie theorized is that we should actually be thinking about what we're doing in these three terms. She said, first of all, think about what you're doing is providing a structure for the day. Or she said, for literally like a reason to get out of bed. If you think about it, how many of us have said, like Groundhog Day, we're doing this is just like yesterday. What is for kids in particular, who may have been used to much higher levels of interactions with other kids and going out, it's been really stressful, and for families too, of course. And so one of the things that we say is, all right, let's do a morning meeting. So you're providing structure for the kids and for the families. The next reason is to provide relief for a working parent. So what we've known is throughout the year is that there's the majority of our families, it's either a parent or a grandparent that's doing the childcare at this point. And especially if it's the parent doing the childcare, a lot of times they're also they may have other kids that they're trying to facilitate on Zoom. They may be doing their own work at home. And the last thing they need is like for us to have something where they have to sit there and do something really intense with their kid where they have to be there. So one of the things that we're doing is it's something that the kids can do. So we provide exercises that the kids can do. We can provide classes that the kids can the parents can log them in, or lots of times the kids can log in by themselves at this point. They're so good at Zoom and they're just independent. And so the parents can do their own thing. So school is actually not a burden for the parents, but actually a relief for the parents. The next thing that Melanie suggested is that at this time that children have something that's theirs. So what we have encountered for a lot of the kids is, especially the kids with multiple siblings, like, Jose's on his 5th grade class over here, and Yasmin's in her 1st grade class here, and mom's at work, and then the other kid is just kind of left to watch television or come up with whatever they're supposed to do. And so to provide something that's theirs, right, so that they can say, I have my school. I need to go to my school. And we've heard from parents, like the kids they're like, Mom, what time is it? Is it time for my school? And like they have this real sense that it's their school. But Melanie also suggested that we really think about breaking groups into small pods of learners. So what that means is that we do the majority of our work in these small groups. And actually, it was the best advice ever, both because the kids really get to know each other, and also because Zoom, frankly, works a lot better in small groups than it does in these big groups, where you can really have communication with each other. So the last thing that Melanie suggested is that rather than have like a chunk of time, that we actually do short meetings scattered throughout the day and into the evening. I know you're like, wait a minute, I don't want to work that hard. This is her suggestion, and we took her suggestion to heart. We'll do the next slide, and then I'm going to show you my schedule. I think you're going to be like, whoa. So I also wanted to show you some other programming that we do that has non-synchronous elements. So there's times when people just can't get on. They can't make it to a specific Zoom time. So we also wanted to provide resources for families who can't make it to a specific time on a specific day. So we have a Shutterfly classroom website. We have a YouTube channel where we upload videos that the teachers produce. Sometimes the teachers will go on field trips, or sometimes the family, or sometimes we'll do crazy experiments. I just barely built a catapult in my backyard to show to the kids. And sometimes we have families produce their own videos. So we did a farm unit, and we had all the families that had farms do a video of their farm. So then we uploaded those to the channel so the kids could see the real farmers' kids. We have Epic, which is this website that I totally recommend. It's free right now, where it's free for educators, parents, and kids. They have 40,000 ebooks, and you can just log on and read as much as you want. And as long as during the pandemic, it's free. SignUpGenius is another website that I totally recommend to you. Okay, so this is Shutterfly website. Shutterfly provides free websites for classrooms, and it's password protected, and you can add these home things. You can add pictures and videos, so you can have, and anybody who's a member can upload videos. So it operates kind of like Facebook, except for a classroom. It also has a calendar. Ours is very vacant, but in a typical year, we'll fill up our calendar, and then it'll send emails, reminders out if you have field trips or meetings or whatever it is. And so that's one piece that I really recommend. I also mentioned Epic. Epic is this site that I was telling you about. It's, again, during the pandemic, it's free, 40,000 books. Kids can just sign on and read as many ebooks as they want if they don't happen to have a lot of books around the home. And then I also was going to mention SignUpGenius. SignUpGenius, we've just really liked. So if you have a conference coming up, so we have conferences coming up on Monday, then you can just provide empty slots. This site sends out emails to families. Families can go right up on here and sign up for a slot, and it'll send them a reminder. And it will also, if you set up slots, and then maybe you have 20, like this happened with our families. We set it up, 20 families, 12 of them signed up the first week. So I go in there and I say, send an email to everybody who didn't sign up. And so I don't have to look up and see who didn't sign up or who did sign up. And it just sends out an email to everybody who didn't sign up, and then it's done. So that's been a really great resource for us. This is what our program looks like. We actually have, so we have on these use your own schedule, the Shutterfly. We provide a newsletter each week that has links to activities that are connected to our theme for the week. And we also have, then in terms of the live meeting, we do a 9 o'clock, an 11 o'clock, a 2 o'clock, and a 6:30. So that is, yeah, so it's kind of a crazy schedule, but I'll tell you what, we feel like it really accommodates the families that we're working with. One big thing that we noticed, I mean, and it's a little late for this, you all are in the middle of this, but if you were starting a new program, one of the things that we really figured out right away is that our families needed connectivity. We actually ended up writing a grant because 14 out of our 20 families did not have a device for their child at home. So we wrote a grant, and so that, I would imagine that is common just everywhere, that families don't necessarily have a device for their kid, or if they do have a device, that the older kids get priority. And so something to be aware of. And also if they even have internet at home, hey, talk to the legislature right now is trying to do broadband, go for it. I mean, this is really, really important for our families that we have excellent internet across the state, that people really have a right to that. So it's something to be aware of. All right, so I'm just gonna go through some real quick tips about how to plan a successful meeting. And the first thing is just to think about the age of the maturity level, part of the year you're in. And I think you should never extend a meeting past children's attention span. So if you can hear the kids in the background saying, can I go? And their parents are like, no, the meeting's still going. Your meeting is running too long. I mean, you want the kids to be so into your meeting, and you end before their intention ends. So just really thinking that through whatever that means. And that means, I mean, if that means you have a 10-minute meeting, then you have a 10-minute meeting. And you can, I mean, one of the things that we do a lot of times is we say, okay, we're ending the meeting now. And then we say, if you want to stay longer, you can. So on any given day, maybe I have 7 kids in my pod, and I say, you can stay longer, and 2 kids will stay for another 15 or 20 minutes. But the other kids, they weren't like in the situations where they were completely bored and like, can I leave? Because you want, as always, you want school to be something that they want to do. And so I think this is really important. The next slide just talks about start with something attention grabbing. I tried to model today some strategies that we use in our meetings where we do lots of songs, we do puppets, we oftentimes will use the screen sharing ability and share a YouTube video. We put on costumes or act outs. We really enjoy like starting with the bang and getting the kids laughing and enjoying the meeting right from the start. The next slide talks about a little bit about planning for movement. So do movement during your meeting, and you might think to yourself, well, my kids don't have balls at home, they don't have jump rope. Use pillows, brooms, stuffed animals, socks rolled into balls, laundry basket, rocks, water. Like there are all these things that you can do and that kids will have at home. And I really recommend building movement into your meetings. I also wanted just to spend a couple minutes talking about the Zoom features that can really help keep meetings lively. A lot of you probably know these already, but I just wanted to go through them. So real quick. So we are gonna try some different things. So do you all know about video filters? Okay, so for those of you who do, go ahead and put a video filter on. If you don't, so I'm gonna explain what you're gonna do, everybody. There's a video filter. If you go to the bottom of your screen where there's the little camera that says stop video, there's a little caret next to that. And if you click that caret and then click choose video filter, then it should bring up lots of options. So then you can change your appearance on the screen. Go ahead and give it a try. There you go. And similarly, you can do a virtual background, and virtual background will allow you to change what's in back of you. And so these are just really great features for just doing something different. You know, novelty is a big part of teaching, and so this is just a really fun thing to do. So another feature that I'm going to suggest that you might want to try is actually doing the shared whiteboard. I don't know if any of you have done this before. So let me show you what right now I'm gonna share my whiteboard. And what I'd like everybody to do is, if you look up at the top of the screen, there's a little green bar that says, you are viewing Jean Brown's screen. And now if you look to the right of that, again, there's a little caret. And if you choose that caret and choose the last item on that menu, it says annotate. So if you choose that, now you can use the pencil and you can start drawing on this whiteboard. Go ahead and give it a try. There you go. All right, there you go. And you can see how you can do this, and everybody can do this simultaneously. So that's another really fun feature of something that you can do. And you can imagine the kids having a ball with this. So this is another feature I really would like to recommend to you. So the final Zoom feature I just want to mention to you, and some of you might be using it right now, is just the possibility of a live transcript. If you see in the bottom of your screen that for instance, if you need someone that has accessibility needs, know that this is a feature of Zoom that they will do, like basically closed captioning for you. So just so you're aware of that component of Zoom, that's a really powerful tool for families with accessibility needs. All right, and then I believe I am going to stop there and pass it over to Claudia.
The fundamental question: what is the purpose of home visiting from a family's perspective in a pandemic? Can everybody please type that in the chat?
Support, so the students don't get discouraged. Be safe, to be sure families are doing okay, especially the children. Engage.
So home visiting more important during the pandemic? Unfortunately, I believe, and from the family's perspective, yes. It seemed like they kind of needed more support at this point than before the pandemic. So according to feedback from multiple participants, home visitors were viewed as a trusted confidant, a mentor, source of comfort, source of reinforcement, source for basic needs and resources, and a mediator. Myself, I experienced many of my families needing that extra help and support as far as I'm tired, my children are tired, we want to go out, we can't go out. This is getting very frustrating. How do we do this? So I always told my families, you know, let's be positive. Let's try to be positive. Let's figure out a way how you can have lots of fun at home. There's so many things that you can do at home, and then we can all try to get through this, because I'm experiencing it as well. You're not alone. I'm here. Mediator, I know that there was times that I did have to either call the school and say, you know, this family is needing support, either from a social worker, from the counselor. You know, there was a lot of issues with, you know, we're not able to log in. We don't have the resources to have the child attend school. And yeah, because sometimes they even call us, teacher, ahí viene la maestra, estoy con la terapista, and you know, we're everything at this point. Challenges, interacting with procedures set by the school district. And this again is coming from the families. Our families are predominantly Spanish speaking, so there is a language barrier. A lot of our families are receiving lessons that they cannot understand, especially because the caregiver is a grandparent or someone other than a parent, because they're having to work. And I believe Jean also brought this up, but there's more than one child in the household that is enrolled. That's a big challenge. A lot of the families are receiving lessons rather than have a teacher on the other end. The way Jean was doing that, it was so much fun and interacting. They're not having that in a lot of the schools in our district. They're sending through email the lessons, and you have a week to turn in the lessons, but there isn't anybody on the other end either reading a story or singing a song. So families are saying, you know, we understand we're going through a pandemic, but there isn't a teacher on the other end. This is not the way that I wanted my child's first school experience to be. So it's very sad. There's no material for them. So whatever we provide for their lessons or for their activities, we share so that they can have for their schoolwork as well. And this is a big one because I do have like 3 families with children with special needs. So the different abilities children are needing accommodations. Virtual learning is not working for a child with special needs. They're having meltdowns because there's no accommodation for them. And I realize it's difficult. And we're all trying to adjust to this new way of learning. So we just help them through this. Another challenge, feeling like your families have more needs than you have resources to provide. This started right after the pandemic. It seemed like everybody started needing resources and there was not enough resources to give. I felt really bad at times. A lot of my families are undocumented, so many of the resources were not available to them, or they were afraid. They were just afraid. And even though I eased their fears and I told them, you know, they're not going to ask you for anything. This is okay. They were just deathly afraid of asking for any help. A lot of them didn't receive a stimulus because they're undocumented. So they're you know, it's like they don't exist. There's nothing to link them to, you know, receiving a stimulus. Some of them lost employment. It was very difficult. I even started gathering things from my own home to share with these families that I was feeling really bad about. And a lot of our mothers had to quit their job to stay at home and help their children with school, with their learning. Other challenges, managing our own and your family's health and safety. We follow these same procedures. We all do. And when I mean we as the ladies, the rest of the mentors for our home visiting program, we pack all the materials and they're placed in Zip-Talk bags, and we use the UV sanitizing light. I try to do it in front of the family when they're watching me through a window, drop off their bag, just so that they're comfortable with me leaving something and they know that it's okay for me to leave it, and you know, they're not gonna get sick or anything. And I leave everything on their porch. We do practice distance. So there are families that kind of see you and they catch you, maestra, quiero hablar con usted. So they'll stand at the door and I'll be in my vehicle and we'll communicate. And there's times that I've sat in that vehicle for an hour while they vented or they shared, you know, whatever crisis that they were going through. And our telehealth visits, a lot of what Jeannie shared, we try to do. I mean, I know that maybe they're not getting the help that they need from the school district because they're only receiving emails. We try to fill that in. We do stories, reading, you know, log in with me, you know, and or let me watch you play with your child for a little bit, telehealth visit. So it kind of helps them. I also got some of the resources that Jeannie shared that I'm now going to share with my family. So I thank her for that. But provide resources for learning that fit the family's needs. A lot of them are enjoying YouTube because it's free, it's easy. They go in there, I just give them the title of the books to read along or a song to sing, and they love it. They're very comfortable with that. UNM Family Development Program, we use the junk recipes from that website. So with that one, if for a reason, because I also got sick, I got COVID, so I could not take bags to my families, and you know, they were waiting for materials or whatever. So I gave them those recipes to use and anything that they can use at home. If you can see here, one of my little girls, they were teaching math. So she baked with her family because you can use math while you're baking. You know, you're using the measuring cup. So they loved it. She's also washing dishes. She's doing whatever mom, you know, is doing in the kitchen. I said, that's a learning experience. That is a big learning experience. And then some of us ladies were doing the tutorials with our boom boxes, is what we call kits. And we're distributing them to families, and they're just loving them because the very least, the children throughout the winter and Christmas time, they got to do their activities, and they share so many pictures and videos. That helped a lot. Never underestimate the strengths and possibilities that already exist in clients' homes. This is a family that when this pandemic begun, they created outdoor activities. Hopscotch, some of them even built little courses to kind of use outdoors. But I feel that our guidance has helped families become self-sufficient to their child's development. Our families use what they have in the home to interact with them. We encourage a lot of outdoor play, even in the cold days that, you know, the children were asking and asking, they wanted to go outside, and I would tell moms, that's okay. 10, 15 minutes, take them out there, let them get the sillies out. They're gonna be okay, bundle them up, let them go outside and let them have some fun. And we value and empower what the family is already doing. There is no right or wrong. We always tell them, reading a book, just like the little girl in the previous slide, wash dishes, bake, sing, how to set up a successful home visit during a pandemic. So first and foremost, and I think this is very important, I've had some families for 5 years already, you know, because I started with one child and then it went to the sibling and so on and so forth. So creating a trusting relationship, that is the biggest thing that I think is very, very crucial and important with home visitors. If it's not there, then it can be very difficult for both. Accommodating family, flexibility with times. Through the pandemic, honestly, I can say, just like Jeannie, they work all hours, crazy hours. We've been doing that. I mean, I'm available to my families 24/7, and they call, believe me. If you tell them, I'm here, I'm available, they will call in the middle of the night. And that's okay. Right now, I think we all need each other. And we listen and we validate their feelings. We collaborate with them. We reflect on everything that they're doing. They share a lot of videos and pictures. There's no judgment. with the families. So I think this kind of gives them a peace of mind, especially during the pandemic. You can't have a rainbow without a little rain. I know this has been so difficult for all our families, for everyone involved. For the most part, everyone has done well adjusting with the help of someone they trust, whether it be an educator, a home visitor, etc. We continue collaborating with other programs to provide the success of our families, just like with ECE, with other programs. Collaborating is what has helped. As tough as this pandemic has been, it has affected so many. Our families remain strong and continue to thrive. And they have. They're resilient, and their children are resilient. And home visiting, I think right now they've all said, we need it.
I'm going to share really quickly the website for the junk recipes.
That one is amazing. I love it.
So it has 70 different activities that you can use with materials you have around your home. There's some questions from the chat. There was a question, what is a telehealth visit?
So a telehealth visit is a visit with the family through Zoom, through Google Duo, because with our program, we do have to do or see a lot of parent-child interaction. And of course, you can't see that over the phone. So in order for us to comply with the state and still be able to see a lot of parent-child interaction, we do ask that the very least, if they're not comfortable with it, either send us videos of them interacting with their child, playing outside, reading a book, whatever it may be. But mainly we do have at least once a month our Zoom visit or Google, whichever they feel comfortable with. A lot of families, believe it or not, cannot log into Zoom or don't know how, the grandmas, but we figure something out in order to see them. Messenger, we do whatever it takes to do that telehealth visit. And that's what our program calls it, is telehealth visit.
We have a question or suggestion rather. Books, VOOKS, has books in Spanish too.
Oh, nice. I use YouTube, and on YouTube, they have a lot of read-alongs that are in Spanish. It's accessible to them. And, but yes, we do translate all the books for our families.
And Epic Books that I referred to also has many books in Spanish. Then we have for the Epic website, it requires me to sign up. The questions are related to pre-K level reading and choose a school. I'm an early Head Start teacher. Yeah, I noticed that too. They just assume that you're teaching a little older kids than you are. Just answer it. I don't know that it matters. Just answer it as like that you're doing 4 or 5 year olds. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.